Hello, today's topic is if statement in Python. We are going to use PyCharm today because PyCharm is a nice and cool editor. We will use idle in between when you want to try simple one-line statements in Python. I clicked on PyCharm icon, it opened this dialog here, create a new project. I'm going to give it a name, Learn Python. So this will be my project name in C code directory. You can choose whatever directory you like. Create. So it just created a project for me. Here I am going to add a new Python file. So I will say new Python file if. So it created a if.py file. I will explain you if statement by working on a sample problem. So let's say you want to write a program that asks user to enter a number and the program should print if the number is even or odd. For this purpose, we will need if statement. But before we go there, we need to first take the number from user. For that, we will use this function called input. Input will say enter a number. So what this function is doing is it will ask user to, it will print this text on the console. So whoever is running the program, he will see this text and he will have to enter a number. And once the number is entered, it will be stored in this num variable. So I created a num variable and I'm saying num equal to input this. Okay, once the number is entered, it will be a string, so you need to convert it to an integer using int function. So let's say if user entered 5, the 5 will be string, and that 5 which is stored in num, when you call integer function, it will convert that to an integer which is a number, and it will put back again in the same variable. So number will now have 5. Now let's write if statement. So the syntax of if statement is if followed by a condition. So to check whether the number is odd or even, you need to divide it by 2 and find out the remainder. So if you recall from our numbers episode, percentage is used to figure out the remainder. So if num divided by 2 and the remainder of that operation is 0, then your number has to be even. So you'll just print number is even. If that is not the case, then it will go into this else block. Remember, you have to add a colon. So colon means it's beginning of the block, and you have to also indent it. PyCharm will indent it for you. So when you say enter, you see cursor is here. It is not here. If you have it here, then your program won't work. It will give you an error. You will say print number is odd. Okay. Let's run this program. So click on run. So here it is asking a user who is me. I'm running the program and it is asking me to enter a number. So I enter 5, and when I hit enter, I see number is odd. Let me run it again. You can click this icon as well, by the way, to do the same thing. Okay, 4 is even. Let's debug this and see how it actually works. So I will set a breakpoint here. So you can use Control F8 or left mouse click to set a breakpoint. It will be highlighted by this red circle, and you can say run debug. When you do that, the first thing it's gonna do is it will come here on this line and it will wait for user to enter a number. So here I will enter 5 after that it will move on to the next line. So right now you stopped at the next line, you didn't execute remaining lines yet. So you see here num is string 5. When you go to the next line using this particular button or by using F8 keystroke, the num from string it got converted to integer, and that's because of this int function. F8 again and see what happens. Cool. So it didn't go to this line if you noticed. So that's why if is called control statement. It controls the flow of your execution. If the condition is not satisfied, then it will go to else. And again print F8. You can close this. If you go to console, you now see number is odd. If you do the same thing for, let's say, run debug for number 4, then it will go to the first line. So let me add 4 here, F8, F8. So you see now it went here. And it is saying number is even. Okay, cool. So in the condition here, we used equal to operator. There are other operators which I'm going to demonstrate using idle. So I like to use idle always along with pycharm because idle executes one line pretty quickly and it kind of helps in your programming. So always use idle along with pycharm. PyCharm you are using to write a main program, but idle you are using it for experimental stuff. So we saw equal to operator. So when you say 4 equal to 4, it prints true. If you want to say not equal to, then you use this, or this is called not equal to operator. So 4 is not equal to 5 and it is printing true. But if you say 4 not equal to 4, then guess what will happen? Yep, it says false. It says false because we are lying. We are saying 4 is not equal to 2. Other kind of operators are like greater than, less than. So this one is called greater than operator. So when you say 2 is greater than 1, it is printing yes. 2 is less than 3 is printing yes. So greater than, less than, that is greater than equal to operator. So this means if this number is either greater than or equal to the other number, then print true. So this will be true for this condition as well. Similarly, less than equal to. We also have and or operator. So if you want to, instead of one condition, sometimes you want to check two conditions. So you want to say 3 is greater than 2 and 4 is greater than 1. So this returns true. The way AND works is both the conditions has to be true. If at least one of these guys is false, then the overall result will be false. So let me just show you. 3 is greater than 2, which is true, but when you say 4 is greater than 5, that is false. So overall result is false. Why? Because one of these guys is false. Another operator is OR. So let me try the same thing with OR. So it's the same exit condition and see what happens. You have any guess on how this works? So it will check for both the condition. If at least one condition is true, then it will return true. It's sort of like a common sense logic. Another operator is not. So when you want to negate a condition, so not true means false. So when you say 4 equal to, 4 equal to 4 is true, but when you negate, you're essentially converting it from true to false and from false to true. Okay, so that was a little demonstration on all the operators. So let me close this, and now let's work on another problem. So you want to, I will just erase it. You want to write a program that asks user to enter a dish name and the program should tell you which cuisine it is, whether it's Indian, Chinese, Italian, what kind of food it is. So we need to do a couple of things here. First, we need to ask user to enter a dish name, and that we will do using input function. And the second one is we need a list of all the cuisines, not all the cuisine, but we'll pick few cuisines and we'll create a list of all the dishes in that cuisine. So I will use Indian cuisine. So let's say, so we'll make list, right? So for Indian cuisine, I'm going to make a list of some Indian dishes. So the first one that comes to my mind is samosa, because I just love it. Although it is fried and not that healthy, it tastes so good. So samosa, you have dal, and you have naan. Naan is an Indian bread. Then you create another list for Chinese cuisine. So you're creating a list here and you are storing it in a variable. So Chinese cuisine is egg roll, pot sticker, and fried rice. Italian is pizza, pasta, and risotto. If you want to make your program perfect, then you need to enter all the possible dishes in this list, and it will be too long. So we're just, for the simplicity's sake, we are just trying few dishes here. So now let's ask user to enter a dish name. So we'll say enter a dish name. Okay. After user enters a dish name, this variable will have the name of the dish. So we now need to do a check against all these lists. So if you remember from our list talk, there is an in operator that you can use. So we'll say if dish in Indian. What this means is if the dish that user entered belongs to this list, then print that the dish is Indian. Okay. Now, if this is not Indian, then you need to do another check against Chinese. So for that, you will use else if statement, and the keyword for that is elif. Elif means else if. If this is Chinese, then print it is Chinese. Okay. If it's not Chinese, then you need to check if it is Italian. So you will say Italian. If it is not even Italian, then so you were doing bunch of else if checks, and now you are at the stage where you want to write a default case where you will say, based on little knowledge I have, I don't know which cuisine is this dish. Okay, so let's run this program. Okay, let's enter the name of the dish. So we'll say pasta. Cool, it is saying it is an Italian dish. Let's run it again, and this time try samosa, my favorite one. Indian. Awesome. Enter the third dish, and you will say burger. And see, it's saying I don't have complete knowledge of all the dishes in the world, and I'm going to be honest and say I don't know. Okay, so that was a little fun program with if statement. Cool. So that, I think we pretty much covered all the things in if statement. We covered if, elif, else, and how the control flows based on the based on the evaluation of the condition. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching.